fast lap for you.
All right, let's take a look at that. So this is going to be first lap, I believe. Usually in these bigger tracks, the second lap, whereas you have too hot of tires by then, too worn of tires. So we're going to be coming up to our first lap of the run here. Oops, sorry. So what you want to be doing here is just running the top. And how do we run the top? Well, I want to give up a little bit extra on entry. So even before the, like right as I get to this white line, oh, I go, sorry, I go a bit past it. But you want to enter a little bit early so that you can get back to this throttle early. Now you can run right by the wall. I found that you don't really need to do that. I really do like just running the second to top line. The momentum is there. The thing about running the very top line is you lose a bit of momentum turning your wheel a little bit too much off the corner. I can see that running right by the wall could be marginally faster though. So if you're comfortable with doing that, go ahead and do it. But I'm just showing that you can run that line that I just ran and have just good enough speed for sure. So anyway, we get to the start finish line here. Oh, sorry. One more note on this is that you want to basically be partial throttle until you feel the car not want to slide to the wall anymore. And then you can just go full throttle for the rest of the corner and then just make sure not to slip your rears. Okay, turn one here. We're going to run bottom in turn 1 and 2. At first I thought top might be better, but no. Qualifying especially, bottom is really good. So before we get to the one, you see the one here? Before we get to the one, we want to be pointed, have our noses pointed at the white line. We want to transition. We want to get smoothly off the throttle. See how relatively smooth I was off the throttle? So smooth off the throttle and then into that brake drag of about 10-15%. And then instantly back into that partial throttle. You don't need to hold that brake for very long to get it pointed where you want it to go. Just a little tap of that 15-20% gets you where you want to go. And then half throttle, and you partial throttle all the way through the apex. You can see I'm testing it, trying to raise it bit by bit. If that's a little bit kind of out of your reach, you're completely fine just holding that partial throttle until you get to the apex. That is a completely valid way to do it, and you're only going to be marginally slower. So for all intents and purposes, hold half throttle, maybe test it a little bit as you get to the apex. Then once you hit the apex and you are able to start unloading the wheel for the corner exit, that's when we can push that full throttle. It's going to get a little loose, but you see how much real estate we have to just kind of keep it straight off the corner. That's how we do that. Okay, very good. Turn 3 and 4. Again, we're using the bottom. This is a bit more normal for every car to use the bottom in 3 and 4. I'm going to try to aim for a slightly later apex than I did in 1 and 2. Again, we're holding partial throttle all the way down the hill. Same technique as 1 and 2. Smooth off the gas. Partial, just a brake tap at 15% into that 50% partial throttle. We partial throttle through the apex. And then as we were able to unload our wheel, we go full throttle. And then the earlier that you can push your full throttle, obviously the better corner it'll be, but you can't push it too much or else you're going to lose your rears. We don't want to lose our rears because if we slide, we're not gaining speed, we're losing momentum. So I wait until I'm getting that little bit of the unload and I'm just using the real estate of the track to my advantage so that I can go full throttle as early as possible. And that's very helpful for a hot lap. And then I cut the apron here. It's not particularly necessary to do that. I don't know if it even gains anything, but maybe a little bit. Alrighty, now let's go look at long run. Alright, let's take a look at long run now. So, yeah, that was very weird that, well, it's not weird, but sometimes you think that you rip the high lining Auto Club and it's very good. In these cars especially, you really want to run the bottom for as long as possible. So, running those lines we were talking about before, but even being a little bit more careful with the steering wheel. So like this big arc here, just make sure you're using the brake to turn down. You see how I gave up like a 10th there? I gave up a 10th there because I didn't want to use the steering wheel to get that turn down. I wanted to use the brake. And that's okay. That's a 10th of a second, but our tire liked that a lot better. We are most likely going to go to the high side later on in the run. So like at a certain point, wall ripping probably becomes better than this. Most likely in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, if you run the bottom right, it generally is better than the high side, even on late run, if you keep your tires under you. You'll see a lot of people struggle and move to the high side both ends. That's how you kind of know that they've kind of given up on their tires and they're surviving. Or they're just crazy attacking, which could be it too. But I like the balance of on long run running high side 1 and 2 and low side 3 and 4, because it's kind of hard for someone to make a move on you because you're defending at least one corner per lap. And then on the corner that you're not defending high side, this bottom side should just be better if you run it right. And the technique of running it right is going to be like the same exact way that I talked about in the qual lap. It's the same exact technique, except you're probably not pushing the inputs points quite as far. So we'll do one more lap of the bottom here. So let out early, get to the bottom early, just roll the bottom, wait for it, and then just drive the car straight up at the track. Let the right rear rotate there. Might lose a little bit if you slide. It wasn't too bad though, as you saw. Still running good lap times compared to qual, and we're running the bottom both ends, which is good to see. Want to bring it down, roll the throttle as we get to the bottom. We want to apex on the bottom with that throttle, and then just bring the car up. So it's pretty natural fall off, pretty good for running the bottom. So now I'll show you the line that you want to run on the top if you ever migrate up to the top of 1 and 2. We want to make sure that we get out of the gas really early so that we never are really sliding up to the wall. I always want to have my car pointed in that leftward direction. And you see I'm modulating the throttle as I go along. It definitely feels like I'm burning a lot more tire. You see here, at this point in the run, it's not even better to be running the top in 1 and 2. Like I did pretty decent. I probably could have gone a 10th faster and matched that time, but the time that I would be matching, I wasn't really trying either. Which kind of just shows that this bottom with this setup, I think, is the way to go for a majority of the run. After like 20 laps on this set, sure, 1 and 2 up top could be better, and I would say, hey, migrate up there, but what you do when you migrate up there, you let off really early so that you make sure you're never sliding. Oh, my bad. That was too high on my starter. But basically what I was saying is you want to enter really high, not as high as hitting the wall, but you want to enter high so that high and early so that you're never sliding up towards the wall. You don't really want to be doing that for a couple reasons. One, it hurts your right front tire more, and the other reason is obviously you have more of a chance to hit the wall. So the earlier that you're comfortable letting off and pointing and just driving the car almost as if it was stuck on rails, that's a good way to do it. A lot of people like running that kind of diamond line on the top end. It can definitely be faster if you do it that way, but I just don't believe in it in terms of tires. Maybe if you need to put a crazy lap together for whatever reason, yeah, go ahead and try that. But in normal long run by the wall, you really want those early entries. Oh yeah, 97.97. Good tire wear for that. All right, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all on the track.